start with the obvious here. Damar Hamlin goes down with a scary injury in the Bills-Bengals game, right? And I know from like Twitter, TikTok, all this, that I'm not the only one who thought that instantly, right, that happened. You see the severity of it within the next, well, I mean, you see the severity instantly, but within like 5 minutes, you realize like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah,
it's not just bad, it's bad.
That was bad.
And like I said, I'm not the only one who thought instantly that this game can't go on. Like, it's about time to stop, right? I mean, you're sitting there watching Sean McDermott. He's talking to the officials, and Zach Taylor comes over, and Sean's almost in tears at this point. Some players are in tears, and you thought, this game's not important anymore. It can't go on. Clearly, you can't ask those players to be put in that position after their teammate, and even on the other sideline with the Bengals, seeing somebody go down like that, you just couldn't go on. They made the right decision to postpone the game and indefinitely suspend it or whatever the official term is, right? But this is a very crucial season for the NFL for player safety. This is not an isolated incident. I mean, these are guys. They're people, men, fathers, sons, brothers, right? We've seen Tua have very serious head injuries, right? Devontae Parker had to have his teammate stop the game because he was wobbly trying to line up for a route. Right, this is a crucial point in the NFL to make a slight pivot. Right? I'm not asking the NFL to be flag football. I'm not asking that we outlaw hitting and take the pads off and we make it, glorified flag football. That's not what I'm asking. But this league has 53-man rosters for a reason. Right? Maybe. What if we increase to 60? Does it really cause that much of a burden on owners from a cost perspective? 7 more guys making league minimum? Does that matter? Not really. Not really. Because the precaution needs to be not precaution anymore. It needs to be normal now, right? Let the guy from Southern Washington Tech, who's your 59th guy on the roster, right? If you expand it to 60, in my eyes, right? I think it'd be a wise decision. Let him get a shot. Let Kurt Warner was undrafted. Randy Moss is from Marshall, fell in the draft, right? Let these guys get a shot because of the precaution you're taking. So it's dual benefit, more safety, and we get more guys involved, right? We've seen this, especially this year. Like 40-some different guys starting a quarterback. It's like an NFL record for most starting quarterbacks in a season. Right? Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. Now he could lead a team to the Super Bowl. I mean, who knows? Right? They're a Super Bowl favorite for sure. Right? So let's take that precaution with those hurt and let others get a shot while these young men get healthy. But with that being said, I'm not naive to think that one thing cannot be ignored when you're talking about player safety, and that is these athletes that are hurt. Now, Damar's case is a little bit different because that's not an injury that you like. Oh, he had an injury the week before, gets the rehab, and then gets hurt again. Right? That's a different scenario. But player safety in general, if they're hurt and they try to come back, no matter what that medical staff is saying, they're pounding the table to play. Justin Herbert broke ribs, had a possibility for a punctured lung, etc. Right, all messed up in his abdomen. Played through the rest of the game against the Chiefs. Right, that's a different level of commitment. Right, these are powerful, young, alpha men that want to play, period. I mean, they're tough. That's why they're here. You know how many injuries they've probably endured and played through just to get to the NFL? To them, it's like, okay, it's this another week. Right? So I'm not naive to think that sometimes they are in the way of their own health. It is what it is. It is what it is. These are, like I said, powerful, young men. Right? It's almost unbelievable. It's almost not even believable. Go ask former and current NFL players what they have personally and what they have witnessed other players put their body through just to get to Sunday. You almost wouldn't believe it as a normal person, the level of commitment and the level of toughness that they endure. Right? 2 things can be true at once. One, the NFL could use this and should use this as a great pivot for player safety. Right? Have people upstairs. We already pay for like 10 officials, maybe even more. Obviously, you have the ones in game. Then you have the ones on the sidelines, like alternates, and you have the people upstairs looking for stuff. Is it crazy to put medical experts upstairs? Or maybe even a couple on the sideline? Say you add 6 medical personnel, 3 on the sideline, 3 upstairs. All they're looking for is injuries. I'm talking everything from your toe up to your head. Is it that bad of a decision? Oh, he planted wrong on his knee. He came up gimpy. Let's take him out for a play, get him checked out. If he needs to come out for longer, then he will. If not, send him back in. Same thing with a head injury. I think it also might be something to look into, an updated concussion protocol, but I'm not an expert. I'm not even going to speak on that, right? But these young men, no matter what these medical experts say, this is the second point here. 2 things can be true. 1, should probably be a little more into player safety. 2, young men, they're gonna want to play, or they're gonna pound the table. Like I said, in Damar's case, that's not the thing. It's not like he was rehabbing from an injury. That's a freak injury. That's not what I'm talking about here. But Tua, Devontae Parker, and probably a bunch of other cases that you haven't even heard of because, not swept under the rug, but because those guys played through pain. That's what they do as professional athletes. It's a complicated thing. We can sit here and say, oh, it's easy. You limp, you're gone, right? It's not that easy in real life, right? But I would like to close on this, to keep Damar Hamlin, his family, his teammates, everyone close to him in that situation in your thoughts, right? We obviously wish him and everybody involved the very best, and for him to to get well soon. Right now, I think he's in critical condition but stabilized, which is good. But that's the most important thing. All this that we just talked about, it's just conjecture, it's just discussion. But in the grand scheme, it's minuscule, right? His health and the well-being of him, his teammates, his family, everybody involved, that's of utmost importance. I'm just sitting here talking into a mic, but that's what's important. I just, I wanted to float a couple ideas in terms of player safety and give some perspective as to what some of these athletes think about and what they go through on a weekly basis and how we can alter it to make the game better and safer in the grand scheme.
Yeah, definitely all the thoughts and prayers with Damar Hamlin, his family, everybody close to him, the whole entire Buffalo Bills organization and the NFL as a whole. I think the shockwaves are felt through all 32 teams. You feel it everywhere.
Even the Bengals. I mean, imagine being T. Higgins.
Yeah, right.
He was the one who Damar Hamlin tackled. Like, people are saying, like, oh, he's probably going to blame himself, and he probably will,
and I'm sorry,
is crazy.
There are so many comments online that are attacking him. That's the worst thing that could possibly come from this. He was, that was
he caught a pass.
It was a clean football play,
yes.
Right? It was something we see every week, hundreds of times a week in the NFL. But overall, yes, I see 100% what you're saying there.
There's two sides to every coin.
A bigger roster, I think, would be a good step from that, right?
I think it's crazy.
So we're seeing increased injuries by the year, right? I'm sure there's a stat or a percentage that you could find of injuries going up almost exponentially every year.
Now, good news is head injuries are going down, which is good.
Because they're taking the proper protocol, though.
Right.
You put the right protocol in place, most of the times you'll see a benefit from it. It'll work for you. Just overall, it's a touchy situation because you run into the extremes of both sides with this one.
Right.
You run into the guys that are, no matter what happens, you should play, and this isn't tackle or this isn't two-hand touch, right? This is the NFL. We hit people, sure, and I agree with that. And I don't think that the chippiness of the game should be taken away because that's why football is so great.
It is great, right?
But you have to look at it from the other side, the other perspective, and gain that like. It's more than a game. It's more than a game. Right. These are players. These are their lives, and they have lives after football and away from football.
Right.
And fans need to respect that as well. And
it's a tough line to walk. We can sit here. It's really easy to sit here and say the easy thing, which is just if you're hurt even a little bit, sit out. But it's not that easy. There's money at stake. There's power at stake. These are powerful young athletes that want to play. So
they're always going to be pushing to play.
It was an unfortunate situation. Again, wishing him and everybody involved the very best. His family, of course.